welcome back to the Tipsy Theory podcast. My name is Adrian.
And I'm Allysha.
And today we are excited to bring you another The More You Know episode. Today we are going to be talking about something that you've likely visited, you've been in it, but we actually know very little. What is that?
One of my most terrifying experiences, the ocean.
The ocean. We're going to be talking about things that you may not have known about the ocean in this episode of The More You Know. But before we get into some really cool, interesting facts, it is time to talk about this episode's sponsor. If you are looking to grow your business or start a business, a very important part of that journey is being able to market to your clients, communicate with your customers in order to increase retention and get your brand out there. And one of the greatest tools that is currently available for you to be able to do that is Groundhog Marketing Automation for WordPress. One of the easiest ways to start building your site, which every business in today's day and age absolutely needs, is WordPress, and you can install Groundhog as a plugin on WordPress for absolutely free to create subscriber forms, manage your contacts, send emails, and all of that good stuff. So if you're going to be interested in starting a business or growing an existing business, then head on over to groundhog with 2 G's at the end.io in order to download your free copy of the plugin and install it and start marketing today. And before we get into the oceans, why don't you tell us about our drink of the day?
Our drink of the day is a repeat because, frankly, this is one of our favorites and we're just lazy. So this is already on our site, so you can find it on tipsytheory.com. And it is a Moscow Mule, which is super easy, super cheap, and super tasty.
It's vodka and ginger beer.
With mint. And we cheat because we grow our own mint. So
I hardly call that cheating. That's like effort and sweat. And blood and tears.
Really, we try to water it once a day, but forget most of the time. Yeah.
I mean, it's mint. Mint, by the way, is like a weed. If you have to plant it separately, because if you plant it with other plants, it will kill all the other plants because it's just so invasive.
Yeah, compared to the other herbs and plants that we've got, like the mint survives. Like if we don't water the basil or the tomato plant, they die.
Well, they get really upset.
Really shrivelly, but mint, like, you can just forget about and it's still okay.
It's basically just a weed that tastes good.
So it's super easy.
Okay, and without further ado, let's launch into our interesting facts about the ocean.
So I'm going to start us off on this one because I had like a really good fact that kind of broadens our entire topic for today. So most of you probably know our ocean covers more than 70% of the ocean, like the Earth's surface.
This is something we've learned in kindergarten.
There's more water than there is land. But did you know that 94% of all Earth's living species exist within the ocean?
I did not.
94%.
So
take that in, because think about all of the animals that you can think of that live on the Earth, and you can't list them all. Now take that and multiply it by...
And some like ridiculous percentage of that life is also stuff that we actually don't even know what it is.
Exactly.
Like there's so many species that we are yet to be categorized.
That's part of my fact here.
Okay, all right.
Because less than 5% of the planet's oceans have been explored.
Is it really that little?
5%. So 94% of Earth's species, 70% of the Earth, but only 5% of it humans know about, which encaptures how terrifying the ocean waters actually are. Like, I'm a good ocean person. I don't mind wading about, but if I get...
she's not.
I am. I have no problem
Liar.
going in. That's not true. I have no problem going into the ocean. But when I get a bit too far out...
She thinks there's sharks in lakes.
When I get a bit too far out, I start to panic a little bit.
Sharks.
Not just sharks, just like squids. And
you know it's Shark Week on Discovery right now.
It's really?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like it's. I'm not like terrified. Like I know people who can't set foot into the ocean. I have no problem going into the ocean, but there's always that what if in the back of my head. You know, like especially when the waters are murky and like you can't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of like wandering around and like you're neck deep in the ocean and you're like there could literally be anything right beside me right now.
But chances are that there's not.
I hate it.
And that you'll be okay.
Well, there's some like weird statistic where it's like most shark attacks happen in Florida, right?
Just don't go to Florida. Who
Don't
wants to go to Florida anyway?
Because I think like the last shark attack that happened in Cuba was back in around 2006 or something. But
I think it was
Florida.
more recent than that.
Was it? I can.
I don't know.
Google it.
You're gonna have to Google that. All right. Is it time for my interesting fact?
Yes.
All right. Let's do my interesting fact. So when I was a child, I was what?
I found the shark statistic.
Oh, it's the shark statistic.
The last fatal shark attack, fatal, so somebody was seriously.
Somebody died.
Was in
Rip.
1957
Oh, that's pretty good.
in Cuba.
In
Florida,
Cuba.
probably like this year, but Cuba's safe.
Keep it safe. Good to know.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So when I was a child, I was like super into. I'm still really into boats. I love boats. Boats are great. I love sailing.
You're more so obsessed with boats.
I love sailing. I love boating. I love being on the water. I think I must have been like a captain in a previous life. Make a lot of sense personality wise.
Probably, that makes sense.
And I just really find like being at home on the water on a boat. And as a child, I was like super into shipwrecks and pirates and all of that good stuff. And there were several years where I was very fond of like the entire story behind the Titanic and not necessarily just like the story itself, but all the technology and the reasons and the science behind it all to lead me to actually like when the documentary from James Cameron came out about the actual like shipwreck itself. They sent he went down in a submarine and like explored the Titanic in a submarine, which was like hella cool and had never been done before. As the first person to actually visit the site since it sank.
That's very cool.
It's actually off the coast of Newfoundland.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. So very cool. I remember when this came out and I watched it and I was just like so in awe. All to lead me to there are over the course of of 10,000 years of human history.
I'm assuming this is a very estimated number.
This is a very estimated number, but estimates say that over the course of the last 10,000 years of human history, if you were to take every boat that's ever sank, and that includes warships all the way down to oak canoes from like the very first like tribal travelers.
It's hard to tell, right? Because there's so much history that we don't know about through like First Nations or Vikings or even first explorers, right?
So based on history all the way up to like modern day and just estimations on like weather conditions and all that stuff, there are an estimated 3 million shipwrecks in the ocean.
No, it's even crazier than that.
What's even crazier than that?
That means there's more than 3 million dead bodies in the ocean.
Oh yeah, no, there's a hell of people have died.
I saw a fact that kind of like goes on this, which doesn't really have an estimate, but it's just like whenever you're in the ocean, you're swimming with dead people.
Yeah, no, there's like hella dead people in the ocean.
It's terrifying.
Well, I'll just note a couple of noteworthy shipwrecks.
Titanic.
Well, Titanic is one of them. But to go along with that, so there are an estimated 3 million shipwrecks, and that includes like
Not
ocean
to
liners,
mention-
warships, canoes, all of that good stuff. But also, only less than 10% of those have actually been accounted for. So we only actually know of about 300,000 shipwrecks, which have actually been documented and are on charts.
Well, that makes sense because only 5% of the ocean is explored.
Yeah.
Like we can't get down to where these shipwrecks are.
And then to further account, only 10% of those have actually been explored.
Right.
So we've only really actually explored about 30,000 shipwrecks. Because it's incredibly expensive to actually go down there.
It's also
rent, cruise,
impossible in some. Well, not impossible, but very hard to do.
Exactly, it's
like
very
you can
expensive.
find them, but trying to get down, especially if they're in the depths of the ocean, is
Well, the Titanic, for example, is like 400 meters below sea level, which is like
crazy.
ridiculous. That's like 900 feet, and you think about the amount of pressure that's at that depth, you're just like, whoa. I've actually been diving though on several shipwrecks. I just thought I'd note. There was in the British Virgin Islands. I dove on the HMS Rhodes, which was Her Majesty's mail carrier in the British Virgin Islands, which got caught in a hurricane and sank. And I also visited a modern-day refrigeration tanker, which is the deepest that I've ever been, which is about 90 feet, so 30 meters below ocean level, which you can free dive. Sorry, not free dive, but you can dive with like a scuba tank for about an hour and swim around that. And it was like 300 feet, and that was pretty cool too.
That's something that I don't think I'd ever be able to do.
No,
it's so terrifying to me, especially when you hear all the horror stories, right? Like, if you panic because there's like a shark or something and you like swim up and you swim up too fast, you like die.
Yeah, you get the bends, so nitrogen builds up in your joints and can essentially like cripple you for the rest of your life.
It's awful. Like, I understand.
Well, that's why you get your license and you actually get training. Which is what
okay, you get training, which is really cool. You train in a fucking swimming pool where there's no wildlife around you.
I actually got my license in open free dives.
My license But a majority of people get their license in swimming pools or in like training places in lakes or oceans.
Yeah.
But then you actually go into like a coral reef, right? You see a coral reef. You see something.
That's what we call coral reefs in the Great Lakes here. We
God.
call them coral reefs.
You see like a stingray or something happens where you need to get up, and
Rip
all
Steve
of the
Irwin.
training, because you've only trained in a pool like once, just goes at the back of your head, and then you panic, and then you rise, and then you die.
Fun fact, when I dove on that refrigeration ship, which I briefly mentioned, the entire time I was with my father and with Kevin, our renegade captain, who was guiding us around the British Virgin Islands. The entire time we were down there, we were being circled by a school of at least 10 or 15 barracuda. And I'm not sure if you've ever seen a full-size barracuda.
I would fuck right off.
Also, there are plenty. So apparently, lionfish. I'm not sure if anybody knows what a lionfish is, but it is one of the most poisonous and venomous fish
You're
in the
literally
ocean.
taking away like all of my facts just from like.
Oh, am I? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. But they are an invasive species, and they're literally all over the ocean. And essentially, if you see one, it's like you have full permission to kill on site because they literally just kill everything. They're from Asia, and they got brought over in tankers, and now they're just like killing everything in North America.
I don't know.
Kill on site.
I don't like thinking about the ocean.
Yeah, lots of stuff can kill you. Okay,
It's
you can
so
go now.
terrifying.
That was my anecdotal
Well,
story
I
about
have-
shipwrecks.
I have so many just terrifying animal sections about the ocean because it terrifies me, but it also really interests me at the exact same time. So I found this one case. This isn't really a fact. It's more just something I really wanted to share because it terrified me to no end. But obviously mysterious. Like, there's so much of the ocean that's unexplored right now that random creatures will just wash up on shore sometimes and nobody will know what they are. So back in Texas, after the Hurricane Harvey, wait, hold on.
In Texas?
In Texas.
Texas is a long way from ocean water. That's like in the middle of the country.
No, Texas is off the Atlantic Ocean.
No. No, it's not.
That's what this says.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, are you sure?
I think you need to look at a map real quick.
Okay, maybe we should just pause this. No, it's fuck you. It's literally right on the ocean.
Oh, it is.
I'm like hitting the mic trying to like turn my computer around. But sorry, as you can tell, we're Canadian. Yeah, Texas is right on the ocean. Don't make me question it. They have a shore.
I'm sorry. I'm pulling all of my history of Texas from SpongeBob, so forgive me.
So how does Sandy get into the ocean if she's from Texas and she goes?
You know what?
into
That's
the
that's a great point. You make a good point.
Yeah, so they found a snake-like eel that was discovered far from its natural home. I'm putting quotations around this. That was 30 meters long.
That's a hella snake.
It's terrifying, and it's called fang too, so it has like fangs on it and everything.
Ew.
Like, could you imagine just like walking the shore and there's just like this 30-meter?
Well, at least it was hella dead, probably, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it died in the hurricane.
That's like when you walk into like those downtown like shady ethnic grocery stores, and there's like that tank in the back that's like murky black, and you know there's just a pit. It doesn't say what it is, but it just has like a picture of like 99 cents on it. And you're just like, and you just see something like come up and like get some air with a fin, and you're just like, I'll have whatever one of those is.
Yeah. There's so many terrifying creatures. Also, not to mention, while we're on the topic of eels terrify me. Cause like,
You know you can eat those, right?
yeah, but some of them are like electric.
Yeah, they have those at Ripley's.
Yeah. Because an electric eel is known to produce electricity, right? But it's known to produce enough electricity that its shock can light up 10 electric light bulbs.
That's pretty cool.
That's so much.
You see what? Here we are, like burning fuel and fossil fuels and coal and all that shit. Let's just breed eels.
Yeah, but I don't think you have. Like,
can we just breed
they're not
eels and like
gonna
hook
just-
them up,
You're not gonna
plug
be like,
them in?
hey, you know what? I want some light. Can you just shock it up for a few hours? Like, that's not how it works.
I mean, I know, but like that'd be cool. Okay, I'm gonna return briefly to the shipwreck conversation because I have a follow up. So with the estimated
Why wouldn't have you just said your follow up when you were on the topic?
because we gotta spread out the content.
Yeah, you need to stop talking about yourself instead of the ocean for a second.
Yeah, we need to spread out the. Okay, shut up. Okay, so there's like 3 million shipwrecks and all of that. Much of those shipwrecks came from in between the 14th and the 18th century. And what was super big in the 14th and the 18th century?
Are you asking me?
I am asking you as the resident history major.
As a history major? Exploration.
Exploration
And trade.
Some of the two big things. The Spanish Empire, one of the biggest empires ever to control any land throughout history.
Yeah.
Super big into gold, right?
Yeah.
Super big into
Spain
gold.
was one that had so much gold that they didn't really know what to do with it.
Yeah, they just shipped gold everywhere. They were like, they came to North America and tried to find some. They didn't find any, but anywhere that there wasn't gold, they're like, there needs to be gold there, and we'll just ship it. They just had so much.
Yeah, all of their churches and stuff down there are just covered.
I've having been to Spain, you can go to a church in the middle of freaking nowhere, and like there's like a town of 30 people, but every single town has a church, and you go to the church, and it is the most opulent piece of architecture on the inside. Like outside, it looks like a ramshack like shack. It's it just looks like some ordinary church that you'd find on like the side of like a deprecated road down here in like North America. But you go inside in Spain, and it's like this opulent.
I mean, it's
freaking inside, like covered in gold and red velvet and just so much stuff.
It's the same if you go to France though as well. Like especially during the era of like the French Revolution and the Enlightenment.
Yeah.
They use a lot of gold then too. So if you go to like the Palace of Versailles,
yeah,
it's literally
it's just
insane.
crazy how much
or
gold
Napoleon's tomb.
Oh yeah, that's like, they knew how to like nothing says success like excess.
Which is funny because it's completely changed now, right? Like gold doesn't hold the same value as it does now. Like if you were to coat your entire apartment in gold,
I mean at like $1,800 an ounce.
people wouldn't be like, "Wow, you're so fancy and like high ranking." They go and be like, "Why the fuck is your wall gold? What is wrong with you?"
I mean, true.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so different now.
But anyway, so I mentioned that only 10% of the 10% of the shipwrecks that we actually know about have been explored.
Yes.
But the majority of those shipwrecks are in between the 14th and the 18th century. So there is an estimated, due from like logs, because the Spaniards, whenever a ship went down, they were like, it was like, we're missing gold here. They were pretty good with the books. So there is an unaccounted $60 billion
That's
worth of
crazy.
sunken treasure in gold, silver, and other like wealthy items on the ocean floor that is just unaccounted for because we don't know where it is, and it's scattered and it's super deep, and there's just like plenty of stuff down if you like had the money and wanted to go search for it. There's just so much stuff down there that's like today is just pretty much priceless. Like if you found that, you probably wouldn't be able to like keep it to yourself. You have to give it over to a museum, which is just like priceless. But it's like $60 billion in like hard value.
The thing is though, do we know how long it takes for it to decompose? Like gold, is that decomposable in salt water?
No. Gold bars will last forever. If it's been spelted into a gold bar or a silver bar, it will last at the ocean floor forever.
So all an in-debt country has to do is just pour all of their resources into sea travel and then just go around, like Ontario.
Yeah.
Instead of Doug Ford cutting important resources.
This is not that episode, Allysha.
Can just go
this is
find
not that episode.
Gold in the ocean and give people their jobs back. But I have another fact.
Oh God, is it about Doug Ford?
No, that is very interesting though. I have a fact that I find is pretty cool. Also, this entire episode you're going to hear us drinking because of the ice. It's completely okay. I've been trying to do it so quietly when you're talking and I can just hear it. So my fact is that jellyfish have been around for more than 650 million years, which means that they outdate dinosaurs.
That's pretty cool.
That means jellyfish have survived.
Jellyfish.
Like everything.
Do you want to go jellyfishing?
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob.
But it's amazing to think about, right? Because I mean, obviously, I think crocodiles also exist. Like they were
a little bit bigger than they are today.
They were part of the dinosaur era, right? And they survived through. But jellyfish were before the dinosaurs. Like, what was before the dinosaurs?
Jellyfish.
Like, it's just so weird to think about. Like, could you imagine if we get like jellyfish to talk?
You know what else were around? Mosquitoes. And honestly, fuck those bastards.
Or what are those like little bear atoms that can survive like deep freezes and stuff that look like bears?
And also there's like the crab crustacean thing. What are those called? There's the horseshoe crab. The horseshoe crab was around too.
But that's not what I'm talking
I know. You're talking about the sea bear.
The sea bear.
Yeah.
And that can survive like atomic bombs and like ice ages.
Tardigrade. They're called tardigrades.
And like everything. They're just completely indestructible. So like if Earth blows up, they'll just be like floating around.
In space.
Is that correct?
Yeah,
I don't know. I just be pulling that out of my ass. But
so here's so there's $60 billion worth of valuable goods currently lying at the bottom of the ocean floor. But that's in stuff that's actually tangible. Like if we like found those shipwrecks, we'd be able to like pick up a gold bar and be like, look what I found. However, at the bottom of the ocean floor is actually the world's largest reservoir of gold.
I have a fact that goes off of this so well. Keep going.
Okay. But this gold is very like diluted and is so diluted, in fact.
Oh wait, you mean gold that wasn't there through shipwrecks?
Yeah, like gold that's not there through shipwrecks.
Oh, I don't have a fact.
I'm talking about just like actual like when they go like if you ever watch like Gold Rush, they go like strip mining for gold particles.
Sorry, can you repeat that fact for me and probably the rest of the audience that also wasn't listening?
Okay. So at the bottom of the ocean is the world's largest reservoir of gold. But if you've ever watched something like Yukon Gold or Gold Rush, they essentially like strip mine for gold and they collect these little tiny particles. And if you put enough particles together, you'll get an ounce of gold, right?
Right.
Which is worth about $1,800 at current market rates, or $1,900, whatever it is now. But the problem is it's so ineffective and inefficient to mine for gold underwater that nobody just takes it on. Because it's so expensive to do that with all of the tools and the materials you need, and we're not underwater creatures, that you would be spending more money on mining the gold than you would get back in return from the gold that you actually got.
Especially since gold now, I'm assuming, is less in retail value than it used to be.
I mean, I'm certainly less valuable to us than it was to the Spaniards.
I mean, yes.
But if someone were to theoretically be able to extract all of the gold out of the ocean floor and actually put it in the hands of people, every person on the planet would get 6 pounds.
That's actually not a lot. I mean, that is a lot, but no.
Every person would be able to get their own 6-pound bar of gold if you were able to extract every last flake of diluted gold off of the seafloor.
That'd be so anticlimactic, though, right? Being like, we're gonna get all of the gold and we're gonna distribute it, and everybody's gonna have so much gold. And you get all excited and you get like your paycheck and it's for like 6 pounds. Because what's that? Like 10 Canadian?
No, 6 pounds.
Oh my God, I'm so...
6 pound. Like
can we cut that out?
Weight.
Can we please cut that
Why
out?
the hell am I talking in British pounds? No.
I don't know, because the majority...
If an ounce is worth $1,800, how much is 6 pounds worth?
Wow, I feel so stupid. Let's just pretend I didn't say that. Oh my, can we just not put that in?
No, that's staying in for sure.
Damn it. Here, let me Google it. I thought, because like my process just to like protect
There's way
myself,
more gold in the planet than freaking like $6
That's
worth.
why I was like, that's so anticlimactic, because I was thinking that you were getting this off of like a shipwreck website. Every shipwreck is from like the UK, right? I don't fucking...
No, it's actually most of them are in Florida.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to Google this, but I'm just getting British pounds. How much? Okay.
Most of the known ones anywhere are in Florida. Which is the world's largest reservoir of maritime underwater museums. Fun fact.
Where?
In Florida.
Florida. That doesn't surprise me, actually. Yeah.
The Florida Keys are very treacherous.
Okay, here. Okay. So 6 pounds of gold in US Canadian at the moment. Am I doing this right? Is $1,417. So that's like 2,000 Canadian.
totally thought it'd be more than that's not right because an ounce is worth like $1,800.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't. Oh wait. Here.
Do we have accurate figures now, Allysha?
No, it says gold price and it said £6, so I clicked on it. But I think it just means £1.
No, that's still not right because an ounce is $1,800.
Well, okay.
Okay, you read your fact and I'm gonna do the math on this.
Okay. Well, my fact kind of goes off what you were talking about earlier before you switched topics about shipwrecks.
Mm-hmm.
So there are more historic artifacts under the sea than there are in all of the world's museums.
Do tell more.
So I have an example here just from the Florida Keys. So around 1,000 shipwrecks lie off the Florida Keys alone. So it's just, so yeah, but like, I don't know. I'm lost now because I'm thinking about the gold.
Okay, all right. I have the gold facts up. If you want to just end this conversation,
can you do that?
Okay.
I'm just
So the price of gold per ounce in Canadian dollars, I think this is showing me in Canadian dollars, is $1,400. So not quite the $1,800 that I thought it was, but price per ounce is $1,400.
Okay.
The price per kilo, okay, so a kilo, for those of you who do not know, is 2.2 pounds. So 3 kilos would be 6 pounds roughly, okay? Price per kilo is $45,000. Boarding, $46,000, which means that if you got 6 pounds roughly of gold, you would have $150,000.
Okay, well, this podcast isn't actually the more you know about oceans. It's how stupid can Allysha sound within 25 minutes. So that was a journey. I feel stupid, but I have a degree and you don't, so I'm the smarter one. And with that, I'm going to read another fact. So, have you ever seen SpongeBob? Obviously.
I mean, we just watched it like last week.
I know.
SpongeBob is on Netflix.
It's on Netflix Canada now, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, if you're like, you know, you're thinking, you're listening to the news and like politics sucks, your job sucks, like life just sucks in general. And,
so depressing.
you know, you're just thinking you should end it all.
Oh my God.
Just go watch SpongeBob. It's a great time.
It's funny though, because I didn't realize, this is so off topic, but I didn't realize as a kid, like SpongeBob episodes seem so long. You gonna slurp that? And now though, when you watch it, they're like 10-minute episodes. And I remember sitting there watching them as a kid and it felt like an hour.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like they're so short.
Yeah, no. The adult attention span is certainly a
a
so
lot
yeah,
better.
yeah.
But anyways, so we were actually having this conversation earlier this month where we were like, why is there a lake in Bikini Bottom when they're
Lagoon.
underwater? That makes no sense.
Remember Google Lagoon? There's like people surfing on it, and it's like if they're underwater, how can there be more water underwater?
Well, the fact is, there can be. So
what?
I know, mind blowing. It's possible to actually find river and lakes beneath the ocean because I'm going to read you a bunch of shit that I don't understand because I'm a history major. But when salt water and hydrogen sulfide combined, it becomes denser than the rest of the water around it, enabling it to form a lake or river that flows beneath the sea. So it combines with whatever and gets heavier than water.
Goo Lagoon. There's also like in between. I think it was like the fault line in between like Finland and Iceland or something. Mm-hmm. The water on both sides of the rift, one is warmer than the other, and when the two waters meet, because of the temperature difference, the water that's colder flows beneath the water that's warmer.
Ooh, that makes sense too.
Causing the world's tallest waterfall. So the world's tallest waterfall is actually underwater and flows 50 I think, or no, 50 or 500 times faster than Niagara Falls.
15,500 are two big different numbers.
No, 50 or 500. I don't know. There's a zero something, but like way faster than Niagara Falls.
Really?
Yeah.
So like, is this accessible to humans?
I mean, like you can go see it, but like you'd probably die.
Right. So it's like it's fatal, right? So I'm assuming.
Well, I mean, if you got caught in Niagara Falls, you hella dead. Like
some people have survived Niagara Falls.
Yeah, going over Niagara Falls in a barrel.
Yeah.
I mean, but like if you're like underwater and you get carried like 4,000 feet below sea level.
Yes. But would you be able to do that as like a fish? Because you see like in Nemo the turtles.
Yeah, the underwater current.
Like the currents, right?
Dude, it's rad, man.
Yeah. So would they be okay for that?
I mean, I'm sure they would. Like they're fish.
I guess.
Yeah.
Fish are practically indestructible underneath water unless they get eaten.
Yeah.
Do fish just die naturally? Like how?
Oh yeah. Although while I was diving the HMS Road in the British Virgin Islands where I learned to dive.
Nobody's gonna listen to this because you sound so rich and pompous.
I mean like
we live in an apartment that's like
nobody needs to know that. There was a grouper. I'm not sure if you know what a grouper is. Do you know what a grouper is?
I've never dived before.
It's a big fish, okay? And groupers have one of the longest lifespans of marine animals.
I thought turtles did. No, jellyfish. Jellyfish live forever.
I said one of, not the longest.
Jellyfish live forever.
Yeah. So groupers eat other fish. And there's one grouper that
most fish.
Yeah, like most fish. And there's a particular grouper that hangs around the shipwrecks, which I didn't get to see, which is unfortunate. But it is something like 8 feet long and over 80 years old.
So if you saw a fish that was 8 feet, you tell me you wouldn't freak out?
And it's like weighs like something like 500 or 600 pounds.
How would you not freak out?
Because it's awesome.
It could eat you.
I mean, yeah, but it won't because it's a fish.
How do you know?
Its mouth isn't
we
big
don't
enough
know
to swallow.
Anything about the ocean.
If it's 8 feet long, it's not big enough to swallow a human.
The thing is, we know nothing about the ocean. So if a human does discover a fish that will eat it, it can't tell anybody because now it's dead and nobody else knows.
Rip. Add it to the list of the tens of thousands of people that have already died in the ocean.
Stop.
Actually, tens of millions of people.
Plus, like I've read too. This is not really a fact, but like the worst place to crash your plane is in an ocean.
Yeah, like.
Because
#Malaysia flight.
You're gone.
Yeah.
Like, the Malaysia flight didn't actually crash in the ocean. It was abducted by aliens.
Right.
There's no proof that it crash landed.
Actually, I was reading an article during that shipwreck thing, and they found 2 shipwrecks while looking for that aircraft.
But it doesn't surprise me because they poured all of their resources into trying to find that plane.
They found 2 new shipwrecks trying to find that aircraft.
But the one thing that was interesting about that aircraft is like, yes, they're impossible to find, but at some point, something always washes up ashore or floats up to the surface, like life jackets, baggage, passports. But there was no trace of anything anywhere. So it didn't actually crash in the ocean.
Dun, dun, dun.
But let's talk about oysters because they're
oysters.
Real. Yeah.
Oysters. Bakashak.
Which got recalled in Canada recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had biotoxins that could cause humans to completely become paralyzed within 10 minutes.
Rip.
So that's why you don't eat sea life. But oysters can change from one gender to another and then back again.
Oysters have genders?
Whenever they feel like, they mate.
Do they?
Yes.
I thought it was like some sort of like asexual bullshit.
No, so oysters can change from one gender. Oysters. So they can change from one gender back to the other, whenever they feel like it, just to mate. So be like, oh, I want to have sex with you. Oh, wait, you're a dude? No problem.
The original
now I'm a
hermaphrodite.
female.
Keeping it real since forever. She just got her head in her hand.
And this has been The More You Know. Let's throw it back to our sponsor. Let's recap this episode real quick. Let's just recap it. So you learned about 10% new facts about the ocean. You learned 10% about how Adrian's pretending to be super rich. And you've learned 75% about how stupid Allysha is. And you've heard us laugh for another 5%.
That's not 100%.
Did you not just hear how we're learning how stupid Allysha is? I made that not match on purpose.
Oh my god.
This
All right.
might be the
All right.
most.
We're gonna wrap it up. Thank you everybody for listening. This episode's sponsor has been groundhog.io. If you're looking to build a business, grow a business, the best thing that you can do is start building your website with WordPress and then use the Groundhog Marketing Automation plugin in order to be able to communicate with your clients better. Go to groundhog.io to download the free plugin today. Thank you so much for attending The More You Know and listening to the Tipsy Theory podcast. We greatly appreciate it.
Shit show that this is.
Yeah. Please leave us a review on iTunes. You can leave a nice 5-star review, which really helps the podcast out
and
a
only
lot.
5 stars, please, because then I'll just cry.
So yeah, go on over to iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcast and leave us a nice review so that other people like yourself can find our content and enjoy laughing with us for about 30 minutes.
You can also find us on Instagram, which I work really hard on, and Facebook. And you can find all of our drink recipes on tipsytheory.com.
Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
Cue the outro music.